Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heroes and Generals live Devstream number 53, live from Copenhagen. I'm Reto Gargamel, and with me is our game director, Reto Redbjarne. Today we are going to answer questions from the forum. It's a Q&A session, sorry. And
QA session.
QA is different. QA is all the time. But first, we have to, I guess, give you an update about the servers, what's happening with the servers. I got a bullet list of stuff to cover. Well, first of all, sorry about we have to say we're sorry that the servers are unstable still, but we have to say that even though the StatsDB is crashing from time to time, it's actually performing really well in terms of what it's supposed to do. It's just that sometimes
speed-wise,
speed-wise, exactly. But sometimes it kind of hits a wall and it has to be restarted. So
I think there's just still several smaller bugs in the setup that's causing the problem. So it's
in my notes here, I got Robotron is telling us that we're seeing some communication issues between various parts of the server backend. And we're working as fast as we can to identify those and fix them. So when the server stability has improved, we'll do something special for you to say we're sorry, and we'll also looking at what we can do for the people who haven't been able to enjoy their veteran membership fully while this was going on. And also we're really working as hard and fast as we can. It's our number one priority, and we're actually hoping to get it resolved in soon, as in very soon. So
it's important to say that we have experienced some of you might have experienced that the server just suddenly was taken down, and it's actually because they crash. So it seems like they've been taken down, but we don't. In some instances we cannot give you a warning of when it happens. So that's why it has been quite chaotic and annoying for some players.
I got a message from a guy who was saying, "Can't you do the server maintenance at night when nobody's playing?"
It's just because the maintenance thing is just something that comes up when the server is down. Yeah. It actually comes up if the server is crashed as well. So it's just it's an unfortunate thing that it comes up so often right now. But we're working hard to get it fixed. One thing is that. It's worth mentioning also that the server that we put up, the new server, is like the one that handles all the statistics, all the stats from your every time you play a game, and it collects all the data from the games. That's a separate server. The whole backend server structure is not just one server. It's a cluster, a network of servers that an individual server performs a specific task. And that's why you could say the stats are such an important thing, because it's sort of like it ties the whole thing together. When that server breaks down, everything else is kind of irrelevant. It doesn't really make sense to continue a battle, because the stats have been stopped recording the stats at that point. So it's that's why we just take it down and say this needs to be rebooted. I think from what I've read on the forums and stuff, some people think that the server is just one server, but it's actually several servers that does different things. Central one's the war server that handles the war, and we have the stats that collects the statistics. And also every time you guys start up an action game, a server is started somewhere in the world, close to hopefully where you live, so you get a good ping. So we have distributed servers as well. There's also a mix of hardware solutions and virtual servers and stuff. It's just quite complicated backend. So yeah, it's not easy to just flick a switch and then everything reboots. And also tracking down issues can also be very very hard. Some stuff we obviously try to test the servers as much as we can before we launch them. We put them live, but again. There's only so much testing we can do without having the full group or the full amount of players trying to hit the servers. We did try to make some tests last week where it seemed that it was fine, but apparently when 10 times as many, 100 times as many players join the server, it hits some other bottlenecks that makes it.
So it's only when we let everybody in that we can find out what's really broken or not. But also, I just want to mention, in terms of putting my little word in, support-wise, you don't really need to report when you see the wrong info displayed, like empty battle reports. That's one of the symptoms of that. If you see that your character's experience appears to be like minimum or maximum, as in like your character is not even reached the maximum rank, but suddenly his experience is max, that's bullshit. That's not real. That's the server not reporting the data as it should. And usually, if your character has, for example, seems to have the wrong rank, just play another battle with the same character. And if the stats server is, responding after that battle, your rank will be, updated back to what it's supposed to be. So there's all kinds of stuff like that is going on for pretty much everybody. So we're aware of that. It's supposed to go away when the servers are talking to each other the way they should. So,
but at least speed-wise, it's really fast compared to the old server setup. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Now we just need to iron out the last couple of bugs, and then we're good to continue development on the game. This has obviously stalled a lot of the stuff we're doing, just to get everybody just on the case for the servers. So,
but as we mentioned, we're planning something as a basically to make it up to you for being so patient with our difficult server. So this being said, we got a truckload of questions, and we're not even sure we're going to have time to go through all of it. But
I doubt we have time to go through all of it. There's a lot of questions. Actually, I'm pretty happy about it. It seems like the quality of questions has quite good. Nice questions. So it's not only the when is the Panther coming out and stuff like that. When are you going to fix this? Fix your shit.
No, it's. So let's get started. So
some of the questions are going to be short answers, and some maybe a little bit longer, I think. Let's go.
Do it. Mr. Warf is asking, can you modify the Recons? There's so many people saying Recon that it confused me. So Recon ribbon, will you modify it so that you level it by doing Recon stuff? For example, long-range kills, headshots, taking out enemy recons, spotting enemies, killing enemies without being seen, and all that. So, actually,
the thing is about short answer is no,
because it's already that, isn't it?
Yeah, it actually printed out
I threw it in the trash because I thought it was trash.
So I printed out what the stats drivers actually is for the Recon ribbon, just to make sure that I wasn't forgetting anything. So we actually have it. See if people can screen grab it.
This rumpled piece of paper.
But the thing is that we'll talk a little bit more about these things. But I can safely say that playing battles without dying, for example, that earns you points on the Recon ribbon. Totally stealthing your way through a battle. I guess
that one we might want to mention, that playing battles without dying. If you play a battle without dying, you have to basically play it long enough that you actually qualify for your salary and all that. If you play a full battle without dying, then that's at least 10 minutes something. And you do stuff in the battle. You can't just be idling. You have to do things, then you get that bonus. So it's a rare thing that people get that, because battles.
That's super.
Battles are dangerous places.
Especially if the long battles. And then you get points for what we call resources captures, but that's
stealth. That's capping, right?
That's capturing the objective of a level. So it's not the individual control points. It's for example the police station and the church on the village map. That will give you points for this. It's sort of like go as far behind enemy lines as you can to capture.
So it's a separate thing.
Yeah, that actually.
So if you get the objective as a recon.
And then we have the if you capture without being spotted, it's also something that gives you XP, stealthy again. Then there's the obviously for the new ones with the if you try to steal recon vehicles, that also gives you points for this ribbon. And then we have the other things he's talking about. Why it should be given for long range kills and headshots.
It's already in there.
It already does. It actually gives you extra points for headshots with bolt action and semi-auto rifles. It gives you extra XP for far range damage and far range kills. for both the weapon types, like the bolt action and the semi-auto rifles. And I think
But it has to be a rifle.
And I think at the moment, far range is 300 meters plus, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So it's difficult. It's to do that. There's he's talking about suggesting that it should be taking out enemy recons. The thing is, should that be for everybody? So if you as a tanker take out a recon, I think that is probably a little bit strange. You have to remember all the ribbon stats. The way that it works is that it's not tied to a specific class. Everybody can do it. If an infantryman gets into a plane and starts flying around and shooting down other planes, he will actually get XP on his flying ribbons, because that makes sense. He's doing that. It's just super hard for an infantryman to do it. So it's and being too specific on that, I think, would also be a bit weird. Just because it's not for example, a weapon or vehicle that's directly tied to the class. Obviously, you will gain experience from using it or doing that anyway. So that's why the XP system is sometimes a bit. It's not locked down to be super specific. It's just do stuff and you get rewarded. That's how it's made. So
I guess that answers that.
Yeah, there's the spotting enemies thing that he's suggesting as well, which I think is we are looking into adding the spotting mechanism as an XP driver as well. The thing is that we try not to put too many new statistics, we call them stat drivers, into the game at once, because we would like to track what the effect is of these stats we put into the game. So just adding like 100 new things would just give us a mess of a data, so we wouldn't know which one did what. So we try to add them a little bit at a time. We added the damage for the armor last time and stuff like that. So we do actually put more and more in, and obviously we do check out the forums and see what is it that people think that should be rewarded with XP, either in ribbons or rank or even credits, and take that into account when we decide what to put into the game. That was a long answer. That was a super long answer, because my long answer was no.
But yeah. But
mega answer.
I think a lot of people are interested in that one, so that's covered. Next one, November 1 and Gringo JS are asking, will tank versus anti-tank infantry be revised? For example, limiting the number of tanks in a battle, limiting the use of anti-tank weaponry, or a new class for anti-tank infantry. Is the current way tanks fight each other subject to change? What level of realism, that word, realism, do you think fits the game best? And can we expect a more modular damage system for tanks? That's like 5 questions, really.
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions.
And actually, the next few questions are about tanks anyway, so we might just... I'm going to answer this one, and then we'll see if it crosses over to some of the other questions. But will tank versus anti-tank infantry be revised? Yes, obviously it will. The current system we have has come some way from the initial system we made, so we will, as with the whole game, try and evolve it as much as we can in the different areas. So obviously, yes, the armor, the tank gameplay will have an update at some point. And with that update comes obviously the whole armor model has to be. It's actually fairly small update, but we'd like to like put it into with some other armor related stuff, so we can release it into like an armor upgrade type upgrade update.
Update. Yeah.
What we're looking at now is a system where we have some sort of you could call it internal triggers inside the tank that would need to be hit for the tank to take damage. Right now, it's a fairly simple system. It only checks it checks the angle of it and stuff like that, and it checks to see if there's a penetration. If there's a penetration, the tank will take some damage. It has the side effects of sometimes you can kill a tank by hitting an open hatch or something like that. That's kind of annoying. So that's one of the things that we would like to fix by adding an object or some objects inside the tank that needs to be hit as well. in order for the tank to take damage.
I guess I'm gonna
show the armor model.
If you go on the news blog a while ago, that's 2 years ago, when we introduced the armor model, I made these little diagrams to kind of give an explanation of. I'm not entirely sure the values are probably, they may have changed in terms of what the angles are, but generally speaking, this is still valid. This is still how it works.
There's obviously when the shell hits the armor, there's an angle from which if it's a direct angle, it starts to check if it can penetrate. Then obviously it uses the thickness of the armor to see if it can reach, if it's penetrated. There's also a small thing where it actually has an autocorrect on it, so
autocorrect.
Yeah.
Did you mean?
No, but the angle will be slightly corrected for some of the shells. Some shells are actually better than other shells at correcting when they hit the slanted angle. And obviously, if you can see that if it's too much, it will just ricochet off the armor, bounce off the armor. So that's how it works. But we're more interested into the mechanics of the insides of the tanks to give the damage.
Yeah, so like vital organs inside the tank that you have to hit, right?
Next one, he's saying the limited number of tanks in battle, limiting the use of anti-tank weaponry and a new class for anti-tanks. Yes, both issues will be addressed with the squad system. We are going to put a massive limit on the number of tanks that can be activated in the game by just limiting the number of tankers that can get into the game. Right now, it's a bit of an unfortunate situation where we, in preparation for the squad system, introduced a system where you can actually have battles with way too many tankers in it, and that will be reduced with the squad system. And
that actually does answer the next question, I think.
Yeah.
Kilo Wolf was asking about that.
I just want to say a little thing about this anti-tank weaponry. We are looking into a fairly soon-ish. I think we should take a look at the equipment system and bump it up a bit, because especially now we have the encounter map and maps that has a bit more close quarters. We have a bit too many grenades in the game. Everybody is complaining. It makes sense. We have far too many grenades, and we'll try to do some changes to the equipment system that reduces the number of grenades you can bring into the battle. And that will obviously affect the number of anti-tank mines and rockets you can bring as well. So that will limit the anti-tank weapons somewhat as well. Is the current way tanks fight each other subject to change? What level of realism do you think your game fits best? Can we expect more modular damage system? I just think I went through the damage system. Realism is something where we would take it to the point where it makes a difference in the game. You can say that some simulation type calculations are so complex that in the end it might be the same as just basically, I know people hate to hear this, but in some instances there's so many factors in play that it would be the same as just throwing a dice. People don't like that. Throwing dice, I want it to be very specific, but there's so many factors that in reality it would be the same as just throwing a dice in some instances. So we're trying to figure out how close do we get to how if it's something where the player has control over it, it's the control should be given to the player. If it's sort of like out of the player's hands, we'll add the good old dice roll instead. And that's for example, internal ricocheting and does the internal explosion actually hit the driver and stuff like that? All that shit is so much out of control for the player, so you might just have a dice roll instead. Then there is the actual way of using the tanks. We are looking into one goal that we would like to go towards with the tanks is to make the tanks way better, like very powerful, but but not used often. You should think of them as more like the end boss in an old arcade game, where it once in a while just comes this huge thing that everybody has to focus on to get rid of, and then go back to capturing after that, just to sort of like disrupt the gameplay flow. I think that would be nice, but on the other hand, we need to make sure that the tankers are just not sitting and waiting for half the battle. They have to do something, so it poses a bit of a problem there. Could be something where you just, as a tanker, you join a battle, you spend your tank resources, and then you're off to the next battle, for example. That would be one way to solve it. I think maybe that would, some would like that, just the same as the pilot, they could swoop in, do their business, and then off to the next battle. And some players would actually like to have to be in the battle from the start to the end. So it's something that we are at least discussing how to approach. I think we should go on to some of the, because I'm starting to answer some of the other questions, I think.
No, but well, I guess the next one was has there been discussion about limiting the number of special vehicles? You just answered it. Because right now the thing is that we don't let a battle start unless there's infantry tickets, but really people can choose not to be infantry, which poses the problem. So what you just answered that.
Kilo Wolf asked that.
Yeah, Kilo Wolf was asking that. Herjan 1987 is asking, are you planning to add decrease to decrease the penetration over range for tanks with using historical numbers?
Again, we are planning to decrease the penetration over distance. That would make perfect sense. Historical numbers, that is what we will use as, you could say, inspiration. We are adding. It's a fun thing because when we're adding new stuff to the game, we have to make sure that we actually enjoy the some sort of imbalance that is into the game. We don't try to match everything precisely, because then we would be making Team Fortress, and that's not the game we're making. But on the other hand, we have to make sure that we don't get too far off, where one vehicle is just way better than all the others, and we try to sort of like limit them. So if one vehicle historically is expected to be much better than the others, we might have the sort of the opposite vehicles and sort of like buff them enough to be close to the best in the class. And when we add new vehicles that matches the best vehicle better, we'll have to nerf down the other ones to give a better balance.
The next one is asking, General Unteroberst is asking, is there any chance of us getting a limitation for resources per player? And then he gives an example. He says every player can, for example, only use 6 tanks in total if there are 4 other players wanting to use 30 tanks in total. It's kind of confusing the way he says it. But
just continue.
So, and he says it's frustrating if a Panzer I decides to roll up against a Sherman Easy 8 times in a row. I'm not sure what he means by that.
Yeah.
But so he says he thinks that there should be a limitation as to how many resources a player can decide to use in at least in war battles.
That sort of like goes into the same thing I was talking about before, there, where we would like to make the tanks better, but limit the actual numbers a lot more, so they act more as it's a special thing when you deploy your tank, and then you play with that tank for quite a while until it's finally taken down, rather than just being like spawned all the time.
I guess I see what he means. Actually, I think he thinks as a general it's frustrating that you send in tanks and there's the guy who doesn't know that his entry level tank is kind of useless against the bigger one. So he kind of goes and gets killed 8 times. And
goes against the same thing with generals. Like, oh, you're wasting my tanks, my precious tanks.
My precious tanks.
I want you to spawn with the Chaffee and not the M1. I would actually personally like to look into this with a better design that we have currently, because I think it's a bit of a shame that our current system for the But the tanks is sort of like the medium, or like you have the entry tank in a certain class, and then you have your sort of like the end tier type tank, and everything in between is sort of like just stepping stones towards the one you want. And I would much more prefer that you can actually deploy. If you have all 4 tanks, you can light tanks, you can deploy all 4 to a given situation. And you could say that you are. That's where the cost maybe come in that your Chaffee just takes up 10 times as many cost points as your M1, and you are allowed to spend, say, 15 light tank points. Then the player would have to say, okay, I have 15 points. I can either spawn my M1 15 times because it only takes 1 point, or I can spawn 5 M1s and 1 Chaffee. Or I can choose to not spawn my Chaffee at all because it's
overkill.
It's overkill.
Yeah,
It doesn't fit the enemy. It's an expensive resource, so I'm just gonna keep that for when it really needs. Also, it plays into a little bit more this thing where you could own more tanks. For example, if you have 2 Chaffies, that's another thing. Either we could go with the point system. We could also say that it is actually you own 2 Chaffies. And when they're killed, you have to use some of your other tanks. If you want to be able to spawn 5 times in a battle, you would have to own 5 tanks. Something like that, I think, is interesting in the way to both make the tanks more powerful, but also limit their use.
So that they would matter more.
Yeah, but also the generals would know that if they send in like heavy tanks, for example, it will only be really experienced players who actually have, for example, 4 heavy tanks who would actually play the heavy tanks. If one new player has gotten a heavy tank, then he can only waste 1 of the resources. So that could be some solution as well. It's not completely thought through yet, but it's some of the thinking that we are.
The design committee.
Yeah, we're talking about how to get to a point where it's the same thing. I totally love the fact of, for example, World of Tanks that has this huge development tree of tanks, but the backside of that is that you sort of like you point to, I want this tank, and then all the tanks on the way to this tank is just something that it's just a stepping stone. You don't really use them, you just sell them and transfer your crew. Whereas I would like it to be that it's a selection of tanks you have, and you use each one of them. Each one should have a purpose more than just being stepping stones. And I think a point system where it plays into you spend your tank is something that could somehow be used for this.
Sounds about right. Next one would be from Matt6767 is asking, can you go more into details about the point system for Squad 2.0? Well, I guess that ties into the previous question.
Yeah. Yes, the point system is a simple point system that is each player that plays in the squad is awarded points because you can either be when you first join a squad, you will be joining in as a squad member, and you have a ribbon that is the squad member ribbon. Just playing in the squad as a member will earn you points on this ribbon for everything that the squad obviously does. Better the squad performs, the better you're unlocking levels on this ribbon. This ribbon simply just unlocks points. Those points, when you get the high enough rank, you will have to be an NCO rank, which is like I think it's sergeant style or something like that. When your character reaches the sergeant rank, he can form his own squad. And
it's like 6, isn't it?
I think it's rank 6 or something currently. And that when he starts to use his own squad, then he will start to earn points on his squad leader's ribbon. That also, so far in the first instance, just unlocks more points. But it ensures that when he gets to rank 6, he will have earned some points that he can start to customize his squad.
So there'll be like equipment points or
it'll be sort of like
command
points for the squad. So you can actually say, I want to have an infantry squad. I want to spend my points on adding slots, so I can have a lot of friends in my squad. I'm going to have like 6 infantry But once the points are spent, I cannot do anything else on it. I can also choose to only have 4 guys in my squad, but then I'm going to spend some points on having an extra, we call it support slot, that is tied to a different class. So that an infantry squad can actually have support from maybe a Recon or maybe a tank. That it's sort of like a shared slot that everybody in the squad can use in turns. So if one of your friends have a tank, or you need a tank at some point during a battle, you can actually switch over and just have for that one person to use it. It's obviously it's a very limited feature because we don't really want to get into the point where we have just like a mix all type squad, but it's sort of like a little thing that puts it into if you really need a tank, you can actually make a squad that has this extra slot.
But that would at the same time add some flexibility that
it's
allows people to finally.
It's a flexibility thing we put in. So that's just a rough explanation. Obviously, when we're getting closer to showing something, we'll be showing it on one of the dev streams, and we can go into more detail about it.
Next one from the same guy, Matt67. Will assault teams insignias ever be implemented?
Yeah, at some point we will. It's still one of those things that is just like, I don't even think the code works
Anymore.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Well, so at some point.
I think the server stability is more important.
Next question from Amanu. Are you considering adding the Fedorov Automat to the game, which is a Russian SMG, was it? Or a Russian?
It's a nice thing that he tries to sneak into as the what is the next weapon you will add? I'm not gonna tell you. But obviously, this Fedorov Automat will probably hit the game at some point. It's a nice gun, and it's we will keep adding stuff to the game as we go along. So
it's this one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
There
it's
we
cool.
go. I'm just gonna scroll up a little bit. So so that's a maybe.
Yeah.
All right, and next question would be from Big-Headed. Will Recon infantry fighting vehicles be moved off the chauffeur ribbon, perhaps to a Recon-friendly badge? Because currently, credit or gold bought Recons are screwed, he says.
Yeah, I don't think they're screwed though. They have the same path as everybody else in getting the vehicle, so it's not that they're screwed. They, as with other Recons, unlock the motorcycle and then they can start transporting people around. The reason why we put some of the cool vehicles on the chauffeur ribbon is actually to make people doing the transportation more, because it's just a nice thing to have in the game. You help your comrades, and that's one of the reasons it's on the chauffeur ribbon. So it's not a solo thing where you just I'm just gonna go for this specific thing for myself, but it's actually you some of the payment to on the road is to help your friends. That's and obviously motorcycles is pretty easy to unlock.
But there's a thing, right? So Recons unlock the motorcycles by driving the civilian vehicle around a little bit.
Their primary transportation.
At rank 3, right?
Yeah,
rank 3.
Driving the civilian trucks.
So it's the same as infantry.
Yeah,
really.
It is.
Next one from Patton 1995.
And one other thing is that these Recon vehicles are very powerful. I think they should be hard to get to, just to limit their use. That's
because in the right hands they can dominate.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
if you have a skirmish with just infantry, and then there's this one Recon badass walks in and I have my special
exactly
autocannon.
We can obviously see we have the numbers on how many of them actually are used in the game and stuff like that. So it's definitely not flooded with these high powered vehicles in the game. So yeah.
Patton 1995 is asking, will regular infantry assault teams get trucks at some point? For example, the Opel Blitz, the Zis truck. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Zis?
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 And the GMC, CCKW.
obviously would like to add a lot of stuff for the infantry, because we think the game is actually at its core an infantry game, and it would actually fit very well into the sort of like the entry level transportation for like instead of the half track APC, you could start out with just having a truck that you could have. You could just have the same. It's like an unarmored spawn vehicle. So I'm pretty sure we will add that kind of vehicles at some point.
All right. Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster wants me to shoot Reagan. That's very obscure. Sorry. So, asking nades, can we possibly get a cook feature for grenades? And that meaning that, of course, that you would hold it, and then when it's ready to blow, you throw it, and.
We don't have any plans currently to make the grenades even more powerful. I think we have a lot of problems right now with too many grenades. So them being super cool to nice to control would just make the problem worse. So no cooking until we get to a point where we have the grenades more under control, I think.
Which answers the next question.
Yes.
From Valve40, can you add the ability to pick up an enemy grenade that's been thrown at you and throw it back?
That would be the same thing.
Because if you can do that, then people would say, then I want to cook it.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So, KKND2 is asking, will you let people throw melee weapons for a one-time use range attack with it? Oh, okay, so that you throw your rifle at the guy's face and then you run over to the...
I think he's
the knife, not your melee weapon, of course. So throwing knives, throwing shovels. I throw your shovel. It was just like, yes. I vote yes. I want that.
It's a funny idea though, but I think it would probably... I don't think it would add that much to the game, and it would probably be...
You would have the specialist who, like, he's learned to do it really well, and he's annoying everybody by throwing his shovel.
When everything else in the game works perfectly, we'll do it.
But I get the idea that people want to have like their special superpower.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's cool, like, but I also think there's other things that I think should have a better priority, a higher priority.
I've been watching it when we did internal testing. Rito Leto is always with his pistol and nothing else, and he's like just.
Yeah, he loves the
blowing people's heads off with his pistol, just his pistol, and I started trying to do the same thing on live. It is rewarding when you're just pistolero. So
the revolver,
the
kick-ass ammo that's just gonna take people's heads off.
So next question is from I am the flying cow.
What?
Not me, him. He is the flying cow. Can we hear an updated opinion about making pilot cockpits invulnerable to high explosive ammo from other pilots?
Invulnerable?
Yeah, because now he's saying that it's basically that currently high explosive ammo is shortening good dogfights because it only takes a short burst to kill the other pilot, and it's making life difficult for the new pilots.
He might be right in the fact that it's too easy to hit the other guys, and I think that's mainly because our planes are just super slow. So I think we will with an update to the whole. We need to do an update to the whole plane handling system, and at that point we will probably speed up the planes a lot, so they come closer to more historically correct speeds, which will obviously make it far more difficult to actually hit anything with them. We could actually slow down the bullets just to have it in a slow motion thing instead. I don't know, but I think that wouldn't really help. I don't think nerfing the actual high explosive rounds will help much, basically. So.
No, because I mean they're supposed to do that.
Yeah,
right. They're supposed to kill the guy really fast if you hit the target, right? Okay, next guy. The Soviet Ruski is asking. When will you improve the physics for water? Because right now you can walk on land and in shallow water at the same speed. Basically, when you're wading, I guess knee high in water, it's the same speed as when you're walking on land. And he says it's not realistic. Also, you promised amphibious vehicles.
I didn't promise anything. I never promise anything.
No, but there's the propeller on it.
I know. We put in the propeller. And we would really like to
Yeah,
put
it would
in
be
the,
cool.
the amphibious vehicles at some point when we get to that point. It's also one of those things that it's a nice to have thingy. I don't. It does take a lot of effort because we
Speaking
need
of
to.
water.
Yeah, we need to. It sounds easier than it is. Because you have to figure out when are you actually in the water edge. It's hard to detect. I think it's one of those things where we would just have to have a game that is fairly unrealistic. You just snap to the swimming at some point. So.
And yeah, I guess that's it. Next question from the same guy. When are you planning on fixing the reload animation for bolt action rifles? That is, when you're and he means the scoped ones, I guess, where you're just inserting 5 bullets at the same time.
It's a funny thing he actually writes. It's only a small fix and it's very irritating. No, it's not a small fix. Our system doesn't really handle that you load individual bullets, so it's actually quite a big update to the whole animation system. So that's why we don't do it. It's simply in our world. There's other stuff that we would actually spend our time on first before we do this. So that is the answer.
Haywire Commander is asking. As the roadmap of Heroes and Generals on the website is a bit out of date, and it means the development roadmap, as in what we plan to do in the future, it's out of date on our website. So what is your expectation in view of the game in the near and far future? What are your aims for Heroes and Generals?
We are working on a new version of that. That is the short answer. We are actually... it seems like the same questions are getting asked so many times that we are working on a more like an official FAQ type thing on the forums where you can subscribe to it and we'll update it at least once a week with the with answers to common questions and when are you going to fix this and why does this work like this and all that stuff. And I think that will somewhat will take a lot of these things from the current roadmap and merge it into this list. I think it'll be better to do it this way. Obviously, roadmaps is difficult to do in a game like this because we change the game and we update it according to how it performs. We would say like if we look at we introduce stuff for the players that has a certain effect and so we tend not to plan too far ahead, I would say, because it would probably we would probably have to change that plan all the time. So,
right. Next question is from, I'm going to try and say it right, my buddy Keith. I think it's my buddy, right? This one, my buddy Keith.
Buddy.
Yeah. So.
Hey, my buddy.
Yeah, exactly, my buddy. When are reserve forces going to be implemented? And also, when reserve forces are implemented, are we going to have a larger production rate and starting resources? Because we mentioned something about it.
Right now, it's it's somewhat scheduled for the I think the build after the C build, but I cannot be sure because right now we need to reserve time for the server issues. The guys that are working on this reserve force is also the guys that are sitting with some of the backend stuff. So it's something where we are slowly getting there, but it's not. Our highest priority is just having the stable servers. So the other question, larger production rate will probably come along with this as well. First of all, I think one of the annoying things in the current production thing is that where we are actually starting to lower the amount of resources per assault team. That seems like it speeds up the queue, but larger production will. It's a thing. It's actually a system that where we cannot just flood the system with resources because then the game will actually just drown into like the stale frontline thing you would see, because there would always be enough resources to maintain a frontline. And what we would actually like to do is we would like to have a frontline with holes in it, so it's possible to go in different routes and stuff around.
So you have a dilemma. Where is my troop?
And that's the whole dilemma with the war game,
Yeah.
is that it's the number of battlefields will have to sort of like follow the number of resources getting poured into the game. You cannot just have infinite amount of resources, because that would kill the actual strategic game, or the more tactical part of the game. But we can do something where we lower the number of resources per assault team to get more assault teams in play. But obviously there's also a limit for that. Right now we're sort of like testing is as the game, as more players go into the campaign game, we add more and more battlefields, just to make sure that more and more players get activated, and we still have this we got like, the front lines that are actually possible to penetrate them. We've been working a little bit on a little viewer so we can start to show people how the war actually. So when the war is finished, you can sort of like show the.
Is that something you can show? Is it somewhere?
It's a very very simple. Maybe do you have a URL? Wait a second, I'll just post it into your. Just a second. But that actually shows that you have these breakouts that floods.
Is it in the document?
Just a second. I will paste it into the document.
If you're on Skype, you can just put it on Skype.
Just a second. I need to forget my own URLs.
We're told that we got 5 minutes left.
We will. Should we end with this then?
I guess we could show that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got so many questions left.
Yeah.
Maybe we can
a lot of
keep answering some of them next week, or.
Yeah, I think we should just this. But yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Good questions.
We got
It's
a lot.
Annoying that we can't answer all of them. I put the link in your document now, so you can.
Document. Where's the? What page is that?
Up in the top.
Up at the top.
There you go.
And then we move this to the main.
Yeah. You didn't. This is just super quickly made, so you need to.
Is it loading or something? Or is it?
Yeah, it should be loading.
Okay, so. Or maybe somehow. Could it be that my Flash player is not being nice? Settings, enable hardware. I don't get it.
Try and press
Reload.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, plus 10. What does that mean? Plus 10.
You go on.
We just got 10 minutes.
Excellent. Selected and was refresh.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I just did. And is it because it only works on Chrome?
No. It should work fine. It's just probably this machine is somewhat set up to be
annoying,
a bit weird. Yeah.
So I guess next time.
That's weird.
We'll show it next time. I don't know what. Was ist los?
That the thing we were supposed to show here is
that's the campaign map, and
no, but it actually shows that you could see that some of the things that happens when the game, where you suddenly see the front line collapses, is that there's a lot of stalemates going on, and then suddenly one of the sides breaks through, and then they instantly capture a huge area, and then they're stuck, and then they go back.
Robotron is saying stuff. Maybe you should. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, no. I mean, it's too late for that. The next question then. Boldin is asking, can we have a clan prefixes for names? Will they come with the Squad 2.0 system?
They'll probably not come with the squad system.
Next guy.
Yeah.
Terminally Chill is asking, are the major cities for the real-time strategy war map set in stone, or when if when/if new factions are added, will basically the major cities be reworked?
Yeah. It's and we can actually rework them if we think the new cities should be moved. We did that a few times, actually changing them a bit.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Right?
So they're not set in stone.
The Sandman is asking when, if ever, can we expect to see some flight instruments for pilots, like the altimeter, airspeed indicator, gyroscopic system, compass? That would be super useful if you're trying to fly through fog.
Yeah, it is something that we need to take into consideration when we, at some point, as I said before, will update the flight model. Right now, the flight model is so simple that it doesn't really make sense to have much of these things in the cockpit. I know that Ville, who's doing the vehicles, would really love to have a lot of instruments. I think actually he's been secretly working a little bit on getting this speedometers back in the cars and stuff like that, because those actually
They used to have
work,
moving needles and
yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
So it's nice, but I think it's also one of the things that I would like to have some more planes before we start to add the cockpits.
So apparently we can go until 1:15. Let's do that. So we got 15 minutes. Next question is... Oh wait, isn't that the same thing? Morlad is asking, will there be added controls to airplanes, such as the ability to use a HOTAS instead of a keyboard and mouse? And by HOTAS, it means a
I probably think
joystick?
he means the joystick. Isn't this the big? Where are we? That it was discussed recently to get. I think it's something to do with the. It's something that I'm not a specialist in this, but I think it's something to do with the interface we use, direct input or something, for reading the joysticks, that we would like to change something that makes it possible to use joysticks and everything again. We have also been discussing the use of the Steam controller. Steam guys tells us it's really good. Maybe we can. It's at least it can do a lot of stuff. But it would be nice to get some more controls in.
We should definitely move on to. Oh, and I guess you mentioned the plane updates, so that answers questions about planes. There's going to be more plane stuff at some point.
Yeah. It's sort of like it's one of those things where we actually think that we should fix the actual plane physics and stuff before we just start to pour new. It's the thing is that the current system we have is you could say very physics based. Everything is linked together, so it's really hard to control. And in order to, that's actually it's you can say it's a bit wrong way to do it, because it makes it if we want the planes to go slow in order to make them easier to control, then we have they have huge wings in order to give the correct and that's just not the way to do it. You just split all the parameters and just do them directly instead.
All right. Enough about planes. Right. The Sandman is saying, can we expect to see more maps similar to the new encounter map in the future?
Yeah,
because
it's the first encounter.
Because I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. More will come.
There was supposed to be 2.
Nope.
But nope. In the next build, how many vehicles will have new camos available? He says you don't have to tell us which ones, just the number.
How many vehicles?
And that's Voodoo Guy asking that.
Was it 6? Or I think 5. I know one was pulled because there was some trouble with the model.
No, but that's some of the existing ones.
I think if you count as 6, then it's 5 because it's minus 1.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. No, I think it's because it's not an even. It wasn't an even number to begin with, so it's probably 6. Anyway, we'll be showing them soon. So yeah. So. Alexi134 is asking, why didn't you add skins for the M1, M2 and the normal M1 carbine, but just to the M1A1 folding stock only?
Because that was what there was time for. So
Right. Next one, Broski Bro and H. Chris are asking, will the M1 carbine be available for U.S. infantry?
It's not planned at the moment. We might do it at one point, but so far I think it's fine for only for the paratroopers.
Tandoori Chicken, that's delicious, is asking, whatever happened to the game mode for planes that was on the drawing board way back in 2012? He says, I want to shoot up trains with my Messerschmitt 109.
The good old interdiction mission. I think it's still there somewhere.
So the idea was to destroy a train convoy.
Yeah. The idea with the whole interdiction is that that you if you send your planes out on the campaign map, they'll intercept transports, that is resources being reinforcements from the enemy, and then you get to shoot them the trains to destroy the reinforcements or parts of the reinforcement. I think it's a very,
and it's like you got so much time to do it.
Yeah, but I think it's I can't remember what actually stopped it, other than it's the initial thing was working pretty well, and then we just had to do some other stuff, and it just molded away on the server somewhere. That will definitely be revived at some point.
Cool.
Maybe with the plane update, that it should be one of the game modes to go with the plane update. Shoot trains. There's a bit of a discussion actually going on about that it's not fun to shoot planes. I think actually my argument is that I think that just the fact that you know you're gonna destroy another player's resources is fun in itself. So I think it's awesome.
You put on your troll face helmet.
Oh yeah. Apparently our audience likes trolling.
Yeah. So next guy is Swagger on a Zillion. The names kids have these days. What happened to the resource system that you've shown in Devstream 24, which is he links a video to it?
Yeah, it's still being worked on, I can say. Well, it's. I think that you can.
The video is us talking about it, I think, right?
Sorry?
Yeah. The video that he's linking to is us talking about it.
Yeah.
So
I think the safe thing to say is that we have had quite a few issues with the servers that has just taken the programmer's time.
He means the thing with mining, like excavating, extracting
still
resources
the plans,
and stuff. Yeah.
Obviously, the server stability is just high priority.
Yeah. KKND2 is asking, will you create a server filter? For example, I live in North America. I want to join a server based here. It might take longer to find a match, but that's fine. I just want a local server. Yeah,
that's something that I think it's the with the squad system and updated matchmaker will be made as well. And part of that is actually that we define what is the acceptable ping, and then you will have to do something to actually switch it off. So you will be, by default, you will only be matched into servers that have a good ping. And obviously, if there's no games available, you will be waiting for a longer time. I think that's actually better than just matching you into a shitty game instead.
As long as, I guess, if you get the warning message that says, sorry, can't find a server that has a good ping,
it's going to take some longer time. It's always the argument against should I get a quick match that is shitty, or should I wait a long time to get a good match? I would definitely prefer the last one. So what is this?
What's going on in the... okay, so... oh, is this going on?
Oh my fucking god.
Let me see here. Yeah, okay, so this just happened. So they want us to to keep on talking until the servers are back. You want to do that?
Let's see if they... I know that Stenum is and Oxen is in... I'm so terrible at remembering people's
nicknames. But you got them right?
Yeah, but...
you're missing one?
Yeah, I'm missing good old...
What's his job?
Good old Devtronic. is sitting in there as well. They're working their asses off to get the service up and running right now. So let's get this. Let's see what people say. So if you shouldn't.
Let's just keep
continue.
Yeah.
Definitely need a beer then.
Oh yeah.
Because all this water is making me
in the resource pool.
I have to go to the toilet in a minute then. Then we will actually start to get through the list of questions. That's crazy because I was actually thinking that this is just way too many questions for one session. I'm just gonna speed answer them then. Yes, no. Remember that when we had this 10 quick answers? That just
should do that.
When is the Panther coming out? No. When is the Panther coming out? No.
So here's a yes/no question. Private George is asking, do you have any plans to add North Africa to the game? I would like to see battles in the desert. I think our pages are not broken down in the same way because the document changed before I printed it.
It's just,
but you got it right. There.
Do you have plans to take North Africa into the game? If you spotted it on the campaign map, then we'll add it at some point.
No, we just drawing things for nothing.
The thing is with the North African thing is that it's not just adding a yellow terrain, because the terrain stuff would be fairly easy to do. I think people would expect to have at least khaki style paintings for all the vehicles before we do it, and probably also some uniforms that are more desert-ish. So I think that's the main reason why we don't put it in yet, because I think the other things should follow. So it sounds easy, but there's a lot of assets that needs to be created.
So I mean, you could wear shorts.
Yeah.
And
these the Africa Corps had these funny hats.
But then the shorts shouldn't be available when you go to Siberia. So it's a complicated system.
Yeah, it is something where we need to figure out a good system for saying that this terrain type, what kind of clothing would my soldier wear, and what paint scheme would my vehicles use if my fight is in these conditions, and the same would go for if we add the snow to levels. Obviously, you would like to have snow camouflage for your vehicles as well, and it should be something where you don't have to guess. It has to change automatically to fit the conditions. I would say.
Yeah, otherwise that would be frustrating.
Yeah, it would be weird.
Nobody told me it was gonna snow. The guy comes in with the wrong clothes.
Should you see these results?
So yeah, what's up with that?
Oh no!
They want us to.
There's two that said no.
There's two guys that just to be contrarian, they said they don't want. So there's been a poll going on, and
I tried to rig it, but apparently not.
So you did that. All right. So the poll says we have to talk until the server comes back online.
Wow. So we can just take some of the first questions again, just rerun them.
No, but I think we got enough to keep going.
Or take some chat questions.
But I mean, shouldn't we be nice to the guys who took the trouble to write it on the forum and
obviously
go through these first?
I think this might be we have to stop at some point.
Yeah,
because
we'll kind of meet halfway and try to go through this here. Well, you say if you really need to go,
then you'll talk for me.
No, sir. Official Dexter is asking, could you please make it so I can join my friend's games and he can join mine, even though we're different soldier types. He's infantry and I'm recon. Or we could create a squad where we're mixed. Hey, wait a minute, we answered that already.
No, that's a good question, because that is specifically one of the features that we set out to cover with the squad system, is to allow certain flexibility of classes. Obviously, this is not a thing where you just have infantry recon. This is infantry squad, but you share a recon slot, for example, or you share a tanker slot, so you can both be playing both roles at any time, or not at the same time, because the support slot will only be available for like one at a time. So it's not that you just pour in loads of tankers.
I think I see what the logic that maybe some players have a hard time accepting is that it's not like a fantasy, dungeon crawler where like you have the mage, you have the barbarian, you have and everyone can be. You can be any ratio of all these guys. It doesn't matter. Whereas in a simulation where you're trying to kind of historically recreate what an army was like, it was mostly infantry. I mean, like you need to have mostly infantry, and if everybody wants to be the special character,
well, I think it adds a bit more flexibility to the whole system. I know it's actually it has been a hard. The UI team has had a hard time figuring out how to present this because it sounds easy, but it really quickly becomes very complicated to communicate how does this system actually work. But I think they're coming up with some pretty good solutions for the UI. It will change a lot of the UI though, but I think it's fairly good. It's some good solutions they're coming up with, I think.
But so like for in Squad 2.0 you would basically join. You would say it's an infantry squad. So me and my friend have to have we have to have both infantry characters.
But everybody have infantry. If it's an infantry, if you make a recon squad, then you both would have to have recons. If we have the other way around, with an infantry squad with a recon support slot, then everybody just needs to have the infantry, not the recon. But players who have a recon can also jump onto that if necessary. So that's kind of like, and the thing is that we need to have the whole thing as a base squad, because if the battle runs out of infantry tickets, for example, then everybody in the squad needs to be moved out and put to the next battle. So we don't want to end up in a situation where one is playing recon and one is playing infantry, and
you get separated.
Yeah, and then you run out of recon tickets, and then he just have to wait until you're finished. That's not good. That would be super boring. So that's why we do this with
waiting for your friend to finish playing.
waiting for your friends to die 1,000 times. So that's why we have this base. It's a base type of squad where everybody has the same class, and then we have a little extra.
All right. Next question from Mr. Mandel.
That comes with a picture as well.
Yeah. Should I bring up the picture if I can?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. Why doesn't the scroll work like a normal scroll thing? Okay, so just you know what? I'll just. Can I do that? Can I just grab this? But I mean,
there's a link.
Is there a link? There is a link.
Yeah.
There is a link. I'm going to do all kinds of awkward things, and there. Can we have it bigger?
Nope.
Well, anyway, so it's going to be a blinding widescreen with this thing in there. So this is what it looks like right now, and he says, will you change the layout of this join screen? Because as it is now, when there's many assault teams involved, their icons cover the main objectives, for example, on the French town map, so you can't really see what's going on and if you're not in the actual match. And this makes it hard to decide if you want to reinforce with paratroopers, for example.
I would expect this map this window to get completely redesigned at some point. Yes, it's. We have lots of bits and pieces in the game that are sort of like legacy that is put in quickly just to get them in, and then we revisit them later to actually make them better. So this is probably one of the things that will be changed. But that's the whole nature of the game, is that we will keep updating, upgrading, and changing stuff as the game is sort of like a live experience. It's a live product that has to evolve all the time. So don't expect stuff to be static in the development.
Cool. Next guy then, H. Chris is asking if you Now that you have added a few effects for infantry, how about some for the tankers? Like, for example, if, and then he's referring to the armor penetration model, impact angle too high, then you would like have grenade ricochets of the tank with sparks flying everywhere. The grenade then detonates where it lands, on the ground or on buildings. So if you already calculate the impact angle, could this be possible? And that it would leave maybe a scratch on the tank's decal. Or, for example, he says he's got like a whole list of suggestions.
Just
really.
go on. And
so armor too thick.
Apparently, we have plenty of time.
We got time, right? Okay, so next on the list, he says, for example, armor too thick. You would have that the grenade detonates outside the tank, and then that it leaves a dot decal on the tank. Or if there's penetration and the grenade penetrates the tank, a lot of sparks are flying everywhere. No explosion is visible because the grenade is detonated inside the tank. Dirt and metal sparks and stuff are flying through the air. It leaves a whole decal on the tank, and the tank completely explodes soon afterwards. So he says this would enhance visible feedback greatly, and even starters would understand instantly what's going on. So maybe you could even remove the text messages on the head-up display. And additionally, this would greatly add to the immersion and the atmosphere. And he says, I like this suggestion. Watch Band of Brothers and Fury for some ideas.
We never watched those.
No, we don't. We don't like that kind of movie. Sarcasm detected. So yes or no?
It's good suggestions. Some of them are a bit. All this. I guess when you penetrate the tank, it should basically just explode. It's just effects. I think it would be nice to have some more obvious feedback effects of what you're doing, but still I think we need to have the indication of what is actually happening, because otherwise you have to, as a new player, to figure out what happened there. If it's not super obvious that this effect is this result and this other effect is the other result, you might think that just because it ricochets off, you actually hit or something. You need to know that you actually need to penetrate the armor. So yeah.
But so
we'll look into stuff like
right,
that, obviously. Yeah. But I think we would like to do a more better system to tell what actually happens when you hit the armor.
You know, if you fire armor-piercing rounds, they don't all detonate, do they?
There's different types.
There's different types, right? They don't all. So yeah. Next guy, Patton 9095 is asking: can we get a massive camera shake every time our tank is hit by another tank shell? Another tank's shell, I guess. Yeah, it would certainly add distress to being attacked. I guess in a way, sometimes if you turn down your headphones for some reason, sometimes you can miss the fact that you got hit by.
Probably, yeah. It's
some guys hate the camera shake, but I mean,
I love the whole thing that it's effects and screen effects. So if you ask for it, obviously we'll just our super animator will put it in for us.
Actually, next question is from Phalanx 1337. Phalanx Elite is asking: will you reduce the shake effect when planes shoot the ground with their cannon fire? It's like playing in an earthquake. No, it's awesome. I love it.
I know. Yeah. Our animator have been looking a little bit into tweaking some of the effects, but I actually think it's pretty cool that you can use the being close to the explosion stuff. It's just got to be not very friendly for you.
Because you need the suppression, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna just keep strolling like it's nobody's business. Next question is from Eric, 2811 Netherlands. I guess. Will Recons get different sniping poses? And here I think he's the one who's linked these.
Oh. So we did get to those questions. I was actually arguing before we started that this would never
okay, so
never reach this.
So we got Oh, I closed. Did I do that? I closed the tabs. Okay, so let's open them again. Da da da. That's one, and that's another one. So, and numero due. So, that's this, which is looks like yoga,
Yeah.
and the other one is. But this I've seen more often, but that one is it's interesting. Doesn't look comfortable.
No, sitting out in the open like that also makes you
let's actually zoom
nice
in.
target for anybody else. Well,
And let's show the other one again. So
we don't have any plans for adding special aiming animations like this. But I think it's when you just crouch, you should be doing this, or what?
I guess you could because it's like sitting. So what if you press Control to crouch, and then you have to press the prone key as a combo, and then that makes you sit down, and then if you press whatever again, you stand up again.
Yeah.
Can we do this? Looking at the animator,
do everything.
We can do everything.
Sniping poses confirmed.
yeah. But yeah. I mean, I've never had the urge to really sit down in the middle of a battle, but yeah, I guess if you found a good camping spot, can we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
So the same Eric 2811 NL and my buddy Keith and Mr. I'm not even sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. Turco 42. They're asking, are you working on a better passive sway option? I know that controlling your breathing doesn't really affect sway, but it does affect the movement caused by the contraction of the diaphragm and rib muscles, as shown in. He's actually got a breathing video.
Can we see it? Can we see the breathing video?
Let's actually go and look at the demonstration. So.
Breath control.
I'm going to full screen it. So, yeah. So as we can see. That, yeah.
That's a video game.
Yeah. So, okay. So basically, as he's breathing, the
inhaling, exhaling lasts about 4 to 5 seconds. Between respiratory cycles, there is a natural pause of 2 to 3 seconds. During this natural respiratory pause, your breathing muscles are relaxed.
I guess we're supposed to hear like the narrator explaining it.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where it's fairly easy to use the sniping weapons in the game, and we don't want to make it easier, because then it will just be people are complaining still that they think it's too overpowered with the sniping rifles. So I think it would be a wrong direction to make it even easier to use them. Also, making them harder is also not really an option, because it is something that a lot of players would actually like to at least try out with the sniping. And if they find it super hard in the beginning, they just go, "Oh, this is."
They're gonna give up.
Yeah, this is like a simulator type game, and we definitely don't want to do that. So I think it's actually a pretty okay solution you have for now. It's supposed to be hard to do the long range sniping, and yes, it's annoying that the gun moves, but that is the way we solved to put in a bit of uncertainty into the sniping, and I don't think it's that hard to. We have tested it several times. I don't really think it's that hard to shoot with the scope, and I'm pretty sure if you just make an option where it was rock steady, it would be super easy. So.
Next question, still from Mr. Eric 2811. Will the driver of a Recon vehicle get some sort of experience when he's driving a gunner? Isn't he already?
I don't get that question.
When you're driving around the passenger who's your gunner. and you're driving around in a Recon vehicle, are you going to get some kind of experience? But you're getting the chauffeur ribbon, aren't you?
Yeah, you will, but in order to do some more work on the Recon vehicles, we do need the thing we have in the again the squad system, where you can sort of like lock the usage of your car or use your second gun to squad members. Before that, we cannot really do much with the support weapons. So, but obviously, yes, at that point, XP will be awarded for somebody using your support weapons.
Next question. I think it's related. Amanu and I'm not sure how do you pronounce that. Fezillon.
Facilon.
Yeah, Fazilon is asking, when will we be able to do drive-by shootings?
When we can shoot from the cars, I would definitely like to see that in the game. That you can shoot as a passenger, that would be awesome. It would probably make the Jeep into like a bazooka Jeep with like 8 bazookas on it. That would be like a tank hunter's wet dream, I guess.
Like a pirate ship. I just need like a Jolly Rogers skull and crossbone flag.
It's gonna be drive-by Panzerfausting.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be great to be able to do that.
Right. KKND2 is asking, why is it that health or ammo or Panzerfaust crates on vehicles become inactive once the vehicle becomes stolen?
Because it would be a way to drain one person's resources, or turn it into like an infinite supply of free resources.
Yeah, why get your own when you can just steal somebody else's?
Yes,
right?
So and you can swap them around. So your friend joins in and you just switch vehicles, and then you have like free access. So that's why.
Nice try. Lord of War 100. There's a lot of Lords of War, apparently.
Whoa.
Lord of War 100 is asking, in the in-battle inventory system, is there any plan to implement it at all? It's incredibly painful. That sounds like pain. And annoying to have to exit the battle, load up, and come back into the battle.
The exiting of the battle and loading up and coming back into the battle is actually a bug that just hasn't been fixed yet, because that is definitely not into the...
But can you still do that? I think you can't anymore.
I don't know if you probably can. I don't know.
No, last time I tried to do that, you couldn't.
You couldn't?
Seems like I didn't
There's something
try,
that goes
yeah.
terribly wrong when you do that. You're getting charged with mods that you still have, and so there's stuff that just goes on when if you try to do that.
Everything catches fire.
Yeah. So no.
Because the whole idea is actually right to have like multiple characters.
Yeah,
with your favorite loadout.
It makes more sense with the squad system, that you actually have a group that has certain roles and stuff.
Yeah. Same guy is asking vehicle mods with 8 exclamation marks, like speed modifiers, handling, and additional armoring. This feature would be very profitable for you guys.
It's a funny thing that every time people really want something, they will always
say,
put this. You can add it as a gold-only option.
Take my money. Yeah, but right.
It's obviously we have plans for a lot of vehicle upgrades. We'll just take different rounds on the game. So yes, mods will be added to the vehicles at some point. It's there's lots of there's lots of empty spaces in the specialist ribbons to be filled.
Right. Next question is from Bush Elito. Will you guys make it so that the capture jingles could be disabled in the options menu? Because the music slider is grayed out and the capture jingles are annoying. Yeah, the music slider does nothing. It's a relic from an older version.
Put into the backlog.
Yeah. So backlog. Blaine UK is asking, you talked about potentially introducing the British by first adding an infantryman with a few weapons. Did we say that? Did we say that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently we said that. How soon would we see this? And would you introduce it as a sub-faction to the US or for staged battles only? Because the sooner we can begin ranking up our characters, the better chance the faction will have when it becomes fully standalone in the very distant future. So he's already planning for a British only. Is Robotron saying stuff?
Yeah.
So,
Just tell me.
so he's basically saying he would very much like to know when he can expect the British to start showing up, and if they're ever going to get their own faction, so that he can begin ranking up his character to be the first general, in, I guess, in the British faction.
I have to be careful what I'm saying here, because everybody wants their favorite faction to be the next one to be added, but it would make perfect sense to put the British into the. It's a Second World War game, for Christ's sake. It makes perfect sense, and I think the way that we would do it would be to probably add basic infantry. We could also actually just add the fighter pilot and have a Spitfire going around in there. That would be awesome.
With Iron Maiden blasting through the... It's like another music that you can't turn off. It's like you're flying your wings.
Aces High just going crazy. And I actually think that the way we would probably do it as well is that that character, that soldier, would be able to rank up to maybe not to general, but at least to an officer rank, where you can control the a special assault team that is just at this point locked to an alliance faction. So if we were to introduce the British, they would probably be locked to maybe the US until the faction, until we add enough to it to
content,
sort of
right.
disconnect it. But it would be nice to do it in a way that when you level up your characters and stuff, that at some point we say, now we're ready to disconnect it, and you already have a lot of players that have the appropriate soldiers.
And the British faction could have its own baby. It would be the Canadian faction.
It would be cool to have the Canadians as...
but they have the same uniform, basically. They have
yeah,
very
a lot of
roughly
the
the same equipment, same
That's
uniform,
actually
right?
an interesting question, because if we were to add both the Canadians and the English in parallel, and the British would at some point be disconnected as their own factions, then I probably think should the Canadians then follow the British, or should they stay with the Americans?
If we should follow the British.
You think we should follow the
They
British?
have the same uniform, same equipment, same queen. Now, officially, I mean, the head of the government of Canada is still the Queen of England.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's not even a question.
You guys are just as
Weird.
ancient as us here in Denmark. We also have like a royal family. Come on.
Yeah. So, and then of course the Australians.
Yeah. So the whole will be like the Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth.
Commonwealth gang that just would trying to rule the waves again.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered the whole question here.
Yeah, I think that's the long answer, isn't it? KKND2, that sounds familiar, is asking, will the Recon be able to unlock...
Just a second. Just...
Yep. There. Oh, you're saying the end is near.
Yeah.
But actually, you know what? We got through. Man, we got like just like page and a half left. That's a no.
Yes or no?
That's a no. So what should we do? Wrap it up and take the last questions next time?
Yeah, maybe.
So, I guess I was looking at the server status. Unfortunately, we haven't made it all the way to the servers being open again, but that shouldn't be very long now. So in the meantime, we'll just do the usual recap. You can see this entire episode, and that was like an extra long one with lots of questions answered. It's going to be on Twitch later on for you to watch again, and it's going to be on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Steam, Facebook, interwebs, and this week's episode was entirely questions and answers. So if you just tuned in, you can watch it again. Then we will be, I guess, next week starting to hopefully show stuff from the Z build, perhaps, maybe, mayhaps. Can I say what it's called for? The Z? Is it?
Probably not.
It's I'm not going to say. Okay, next time. We're going to keep it for next time. Thank you for watching, and thank you for playing. Have a nice weekend. See you soon.
Bye-bye.